Ooh.
Okay, we are live. We're just about to get started. We will begin in a short little bit. We're going to be talking about inFlow hardware, the smart scanner, and how it makes managing inventory a lot easier for you. Um, if you have a question, first and foremost, if you haven't already authorized StreamYard, do that. It's just like one click, I think it is, because if you authorize them, then we're actually able to see your name when you ask a question. So if you haven't already, please do that, and that way we can answer the questions a lot easier. And then we can also put your question up on the screen too for everyone to see. So make sure you authorize StreamYard, and we'll get started very shortly. Let's see here.
Mm-hmm. We already have a couple questions, which is great.
Right on. Okay. And just for some housekeeping before we get started as well, feel free to ask a question anytime throughout. We'll try to keep most of the questions for the Q&A period at the end. But if there's a question that's really specific to anything that we're talking about, more than happy to answer it, right when it comes up. As you guys might have heard, hopefully, we're also going to be doing a draw for an inFlow smart scanner. So one of these guys here. So that's a $800 value. To be eligible for the smart scanner, you do have to be an inFlow cloud customer, or you might be on trial, you're about to subscribe, that's okay as well. So you do have to have an account with us, and we'll do a draw for the scanner towards the end. To enter for the draw, all you have to do is ask us a question. So and it's one question or one entry per person. So if you ask 10 questions, you only get the one entry, so you don't have to spam with 1,000 questions. But as long as you ask one question, we'll put your name on the draw for a smart scanner. I think, and in terms of, welcome, hello. In terms of introductions, forgot that part. My name's Matt. I take care of the business development side of things here, so partnerships. And then also I take care of the hardware. So any hardware we bring for inFlow, I am the person for that. And I also do a little bit of work in marketing still too. We also have today Daniela.
Yes. Yep. And I'll be moderating today. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen me either in the Facebook group already, but I'm on the onboarding team and the support team as well. So I answer a lot of questions and help new users to get familiar with the program. So I'm excited for this webinar so that you guys can see how the smart scanner can help with your workflow. So it's going to be a good one.
Right on. So with that, let's get things going. So like we mentioned, we're going to be talking about inFlow hardware today. We'll touch on the inFlow mobile app as well. But if you have any other inFlow questions too, feel free. We're live. We're happy to answer them in the Q&A. So first and foremost, what is a smart scanner? So we actually get this question quite often. What a smart scanner is basically an Android device that also has a physical scanner built into it. So a lot of people think it's just a phone, right? It's just a smartphone, and it is a smartphone. You can use it like a cell phone. Funny enough, it was a month or a month and a half ago now, everyone's done this. You drop your phone, the screen cracks, and it's pretty much toast. I had to wait for my replacement to come in, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to use the smart scanner. So I actually used the smart scanner as my main phone for about 3 weeks, and it worked great. In fact, I embarrassed my wife quite a bit because you could go to a store and you could actually scan the price tags with it, and you could actually Google search by just scanning a UPC barcode. So she was like, Matt, put that thing away. It's kind of ridiculous. So had some fun with it. I don't know if I'd recommend that as your main driver as a phone, but it does work as a full-fledged phone. It runs Android 9. The ROM is Google certified, so it just means it's been through Google approves it. It's on their list of vendors that can provide a ROM that Google's looked at. And the most important aspect is obviously it has a laser scanner built into it. So what that means is that you can scan things pretty much almost instantly, and you don't have to wait for a camera to focus, and you don't have to take up real estate on the screen, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So in a nutshell, that's how it looks. When you're scanning something, you do get a trigger to it, just like that. I don't know if that shows up and I'm really small, but I mean, you get the idea with the picture on screen there too. So for quick specs, for all you techie people out there, octa-core 2.2 gigahertz processor basically just means it can scan stuff really fast, 64 gigabytes of, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes ROM, has a 4,300 milliampere battery, which basically means the battery life lasts all day. It's just simple USB-C, so there's no proprietary charging with it, or proprietary cable that you need. And it has some features to make it more ruggedized. So in the warehouse, or if you're out and about, with your, if you have a fleet of vehicles, whatever it might be, you want something that's not going to break. You want something not like my phone where you drop it and it's toast. So these are made specifically to be much more rugged than an average phone. It's also very thin. So a lot of other smart scanners on the market are very, very wide, and it just makes it harder to use and manage. These guys are only 13 millimeters. Now, speaking of how rugged it is, I also wanted to share with you something that the manufacturer shared with us. So they have a distributor in Russia, and I'll show you what they've done with the testing. These are actually some of the shots that we did ourselves. So you dropped it. Obviously, it's okay if you drop it, but with the tester, he kind of, I guess they were trying to make a viral video. So they would do all sorts of things. In this instance, he was doing target practice with drywall, aiming for, you can't really see the crosshairs there, but he drew a target on the wall. He was aiming for it, and you know what? He hit it. And guess what? The scanner still worked perfectly fine. It's also dust proof. So I don't know where, but he found a big bag of dust. He threw it in the bag of dust, and guess what? It was still okay. Then for some reason, he thought he would go at it with a fire extinguisher. So he did, and it was still okay. Next, because, it's Russia, apparently preserved tomatoes are a big thing. He had his preserved tomatoes. He put the Smart Scanner 2 in there, and guess what? You guessed it. It was still okay. Cleaned it off with some rubbing alcohol just to get it going for the next test. Put it in a block of ice. And then he tried to freeze it even faster by using the fire extinguisher outside. I think that didn't work, so he ended up putting it actually in the freezer to freeze this block. Again, it was still okay, but it wasn't enough. So he went up to the second-story floor, dropped it down from there, smashed on the ground with all the ice. But guess what? It still worked. Then he decided to play hockey with it. So they took it out into an indoor arena. It played goalie. It's terrible as a goalie, but you know what? It still worked after that. Doesn't recommend it as a goalie. But then they tried using it as a puck. No problem with the puck. And then last but not least, they took it to the shower, and it still worked after having a shower. So you can see if it can survive all this crazy nonsense, it's likely that it'll survive in your warehouse too. And those are pickled tomatoes. What did I say? What did I say? I think, yeah, something pickled tomatoes.
They are delicious. I love those.
So why might one of these guys be a good idea for your business, right? Well, there's a few reasons in general. I mean, if you're not using at least a smart scanner, it's a good idea to use just a USB laser scanner because everything's more fast, efficient, and accurate. It's typically better than your phone. Like obviously your phone's a great place to start off with to test the inFlow mobile app. But if you want something that's faster, that doesn't have to use the camera to focus and that sort of thing, The scanner is kind of an instant way to get, to scan items in and work with your inventory. It's also a dedicated device for your office with real-time inventory. So instead of having, in the past, a lot of warehouses would have like workstations, and it's not as ideal because they're stationary workstations. This is basically having a mobile workstation you can take anywhere with you. Obviously, having a device that's dedicated, if your employees are using their own phones and they happen to break on the job, you might have to, and they're very expensive to fix and repair. With something that's more rugged and dedicated, you don't have to worry about that as much. The scanner itself, inFlow Smart Scanner, is actually optimized specifically for our app. So you can use our app in any cell phone. We have an iOS app, we have the Android app, obviously. But with our smart scanner, you can actually, there's optimizations built in to make a better experience. And I'll show you some of those in a moment too. And obviously you've probably seen the big box stores use these, right? When I used to work at Future Shop back in the day, we had some, and Best Buy, which is Best Buy owned Future Shop. Best Buy is kind of the US brand, but they're also in Canada now too. This is what we use to manage inventory. It was so much easier to go around, scan whatever we needed to check inventory in the back. When I was selling TVs, at least, versus having to walk back there and check physically for myself or go to a workstation. Yeah, Sean was asking if you can make phone calls. Absolutely. It's a full-fledged normal phone, but the interesting part is has that dedicated laser scanner module built in. It also comes with a bunch of accessories that we'll go into. So one of my favorite accessories is the grip, because then all of a sudden it goes from having to hold it like this, a little bit easier to drop. You have a nice pistol grip that you can scan items with. So that being said, how does it actually work with inFlow? Well, it's really simple. Just like any other phone, you load up the inFlow Android app. But when you do that, our app knows the device ID when it's being launched. So there's some specific optimizations that we do. So the main one, for example, is more screen real estate. We'll know when you can scan into something and you won't get blocked by the camera module on not half the screen, but like a good chunk of the screen. You also get like a dedicated pick button in guided picking, which is handy when you're doing that too. So just for example, with a traditional phone, about 2/3 of the screen is taken up with the camera to scan something. A little bit slower. With our smart scanner, you can actually just scan right into that menu option to execute whatever you're trying to do. In this case, you're picking when you're doing you're processing some picking. So what can you do with the inFlow app and the smart scanner? Well, you can create orders on the fly. You can also send or share them too. So a lot of our customers have, like, say, people that go out, either salespeople, or they have trucks or cars, they're doing service calls. So if you need to create a sales order, if you need to invoice somebody, you can do that basically anywhere, very, very easily. If you're also receiving products at the warehouse, very quickly you can go in and receive the products and know if you've been short shipped. So once the products are off the truck, they're on maybe your loading dock or inside the warehouse to be ready to be put away. You're scanning those items to make sure that you got what you had ordered. Also, what we recommend, and one of the easiest ways to get your pictures into inFlow of your products, is taking them with the phone. So you simply scan the product, the barcode, and then you can actually go and edit it and take a picture. So that our Smart Scanner 2 also has a normal kind of camera app, or sorry, just a camera module where you can take a picture of it and add that picture to your inventory. And then as soon as you do that, it's updated live across all the clients, right? So whether you're on desktop, the web app, and obviously in the mobile app, you'll see your pictures for your products, which is the most efficient and easiest way, in my opinion, to get the pictures with your products. You can also do things like transfer stock or make stock adjustments in real time. So if you notice, for example, you need to move stock from one location to another. When I worked also in pharmaceuticals, we would have normal stock for all of our products, but we'd also have to keep reserve stock, for regulatory purposes later. So we'd have to move anytime we got like a shipment. We'd also have to move and transfer stock from one kind of main warehouse area to a reserve for regulatory purposes. You could also make adjustments in real time. So say if you notice something's off, instead of like marking it on a piece of paper and having to go back to your desk to reconcile it with inFlow, you can literally do it right then and there with the scanner. So all of a sudden, you're not wasting time reconciling with pen and paper. You're actually doing the action right where it counts, right inside of the warehouse. Plus, we have a really cool guided mobile picking feature, which basically actually gives you a step-by-step. When you have orders, you need to pick them off from the warehouse. It basically optimizes your route so you can actually pick the orders as efficiently as possible. And it's very visual, and on the scanner itself, it makes it very easy to do.
And just quickly, because it sort of ties into this, but we've got a couple questions about how, whether or not you need Wi-Fi or an internet connection, and if you can use a hotspot. And yes, so with inFlow Cloud, you'll need an internet connection to connect to your database. So if you can connect, you can connect from Wi-Fi, just like your regular Android device. And yes, you can, if you've got mobile data, you can also connect to inFlow and your database that way and use the mobile app. And a hotspot works as well. So as long as you've got an internet connection, you'll be able to use the mobile app.
That's a great question. And what some customers do, if you don't want to pay for, say, voice, you can actually get like a data-only SIM. So in the US, it's very inexpensive. In Canada, it's actually pretty cheap in Canada too now. It used to be a lot more, but maybe 10, 20 bucks a month, you can get like a data-only SIM. So if you're out of the Wi-Fi range, it'll just translate to 4G data, and yeah, you have that. If you want to use it, and we also have some customers that actually give these to their sales reps or their fleet vehicles, and then it becomes their work cell phone. So you can actually just use it as a work cell phone with the added benefit of being able to have access to whatever inventory and also have that benefit of the scanner. And then I think the people using it could also appreciate, price checking. Once we're all back into the stores, you can use it to price check when you're shopping too, like I did and embarrassed my wife. Yeah, it's unlocked. It's unlocked. So there's no carrier lock on it. It'll work with AT&T, T-Mobile in the US, no problem. In Canada, we've tested it with Rogers, Fido, which is the same network, but it should work also with TELUS, Bell, basically all the major carriers. It's a GSM phone. I know in the US, for example, I think it's Verizon and Sprint, which are CDMA carriers. So I'm not sure the capability with them. I mean, we can check it out, but definitely works with T-Mobile and AT&T in the US. We have customers using it on those networks. Excuse me. And just to show you, what some of the screens look like. So when you're adding stock, basically this is, in this case, we have a bunch of sunglasses. All you'd have to do is scan something in to add stock there. Picking we've seen previously as well, but again, you can actually just scan once you're on the picking screen. When you're receiving, so here's where you can actually scan items in, and I believe it'll check off the items that you're scanning in. And then when you're creating sales orders, so whatever it is you want to sell, you can scan the items, put them right onto your sales order, and you are good to go. And like I mentioned, also transferring stock from one location to the other. So in my case with the pharmaceuticals, we'd move stock from sellable to reserved, and you can do that right on the warehouse floor. You don't have to reconcile and do all that fun stuff. So a lot of people will ask us, for example, why use the smart scanner when everybody comes with their own phone, right? So that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. So essentially, we kind of mentioned this before too, but it's actually much faster. You don't have to worry about the scanning is much faster. You don't have to worry about the camera focusing times. With the inFlow app, it looks better. There's more screen estate, dedicated device, and the biggest one is you're not paying like so again, so we're looking. My wife wants to replace her phone. when did cell phones start costing $2,000, right? And when did cell phones have to, like now, I don't know how it is in the US, but in Canada now, they don't even discount the phone when you sign up on a contract. You have to pay for financing. Like, when did phones get so expensive that you have to finance them like a car or a house? What is going on, right? So obviously you don't want to have to, be worried about using something that's super easy to break. With our smart scanner, you've seen all the tests. It can even survive those pickled tomatoes. It's not gonna break. Hopefully anytime soon. And the other interesting part too, with obviously we didn't invent a smart scanner. There's tons of other smart scanners available on the market today. But the interesting point, and what I was really happy to be able to bring to the inFlow community, is that our solution is actually almost half the price of a lot of the other scanners in the market, while still being almost twice as powerful, right? So that kind of blew my mind that we were able to kind of bring that to you. So just for example, there's the Zebra scanner, which is pretty standard. That's the one in the middle. Typically retails for just under $2,000, some maybe 15 or so. So it's still almost double the price. It's running Android 4, right, which is from 2013. It has a slower processor, slightly bigger battery life, fine, but it's like almost 90% thicker. This thing is literally the definition of a brick, and a much smaller, an inch smaller screen, which doesn't seem like much, but if you're using it as your mobile workstation, you definitely want to, the bigger the screen, the better in this instance. We also give you a 2-year warranty. Like if you're an inFlow Cloud subscriber, you get a 2-year warranty with it. There's another one made by Wasp. Again, great product. This one at least comes with a higher level of Android. It's 7. Price is a little bit more reasonable, but you're still looking at over $1,100. Still a little bit slower, much less battery. Still being much thicker though, like super thick. And again, the same small 4.7-inch screen. So the inFlow scanner is not just the best for inFlow, but it's the absolute best in the market. So it's not just, even if you weren't using inFlow, it's a scanner that I would recommend regardless. And by all means, you can see all the competitors out there.
And actually, Matt, do you want to maybe show how thin it is?
Yeah.
You've got that available?
That's a good idea. Give me one sec, because I have it in the.
Speaking of accessories, I guess you have it in the grip.
Yeah.
Good segue.
What did I do here? And it's very easy to remove from the, the cradle. So this is the cradle grip that it pops out. Actually, it locks onto place too, so it holds it in there so that it doesn't fall out easily, which is good. And then if you actually look at it, so it's basically as thick as, it's thicker than obviously the consumer phones, right? Because everyone wants the thinnest. But it's very reasonable. So just for example, this is my
phone.
Yeah, so this one is my Mi Ultra 10, which took 2 weeks to arrive, and I was phoneless for a little bit. But you can see it's very comparable to the to any kind of consumer phone. This is rare. I wish I actually brought. We have the other, like the Zebra scanner. The other Zebra scanner is literally like almost twice the thickness of it, right? Which just makes it more difficult to work with, and it's heavier. So yeah, speaking of, Sean was saying we had a Wasp and we hated it too big. Yeah, yeah, we have I had a Wasp one too because I wanted to test it out, obviously, and I wasn't a fan of how big it was. Plus, they have a really big and bulky proprietary connection. So with ours, it's just USB-C. You probably already have those cables, no problem. So with accessories, we talked about the grip already. Basically, lets you have a little bit more functionality. I always recommend the grip. It's kind of like my number one that I would say that you would want. We have a case as well for under 20 bucks. There's a dock. The interesting thing with the dock is not only does it charge the scanner, but behind the dock, you can actually charge an extra battery. So with the Smart Scanner 2, it has a removable battery. Our original Smart Scanner didn't. The battery was built in. So with this one, you can buy extra batteries. You can have the dock charging the battery. So essentially, if you run out of juice, which is unlikely because the capacity is actually pretty big to begin with, but if you do, you can have a battery backed up, ready to go, swap it out, takes you 2 seconds, and you're good to go. Like I mentioned, we also have the extra batteries for $40. And that's basically what it looks like. Oh, the other interesting thing to note is with the cradle, it works actually with the pistol grip attached or without. So it's the same cradle for both. With the Smart Scanner 1, we had different cradles, which kind of added a little bit more complexity. Here, the dock works either way, which is kind of cool. And that's just what it looks like when it's in your hand. Other funny thing enough, when you're bringing in accessories from your manufacturer, they call them pistol grips, right? But if you write the word pistol on a customs form, it kind of raises a few red flags. So just as a side note, if you're ever importing something, don't mention anything related to a gun because they typically frown upon that, but that's more of a note for me. And of course, you guys are here on the webinar. A lot of people have asked, like, "Hey, can I get a deal?" And I love deals. I'm the deal guy, so I'd love to offer you guys a deal as well too. So if you're interested in picking one up for the rest of this week, we have a promotion going for $100 off. So instead of the $7.99 price, we'll offer them for $6.99. You just have to enter in the code webinar when you go to checkout. The link to checkout, I should have put it on here. It's inFlowshop.com. Super simple. And just inFlowshop.com, throw in the code webinar, and you are good to go. So in summary, software is really just half the picture. Having the right hardware also gives you more efficiencies. The hardware that we've given you is not just the best for inFlow, but it's the best in the market today. And we should probably do our own viral video. If you guys have ideas of other ways to test it, maybe a Canadian angle. I mean, he already did the hockey thing, but maybe there's other ways for ideas for us to test it and try to make a viral video. I'm all ears. I'd love to hear that too. So thank you guys so much. And obviously, you guys are very excited for the draw, and you want to get to that. So let's get going with that. So I think what we're going to do is we'll go through and answer some of the questions, or I guess we'll answer all the questions. Again, if you want to be entered in the draw, put your question in, please, and you will be in the draw that'll take place very, very shortly. So let's see some of the questions here.
Yeah, so I think we've got a few here that we haven't answered yet. The first one here is, we use your first smart scanner. What is the difference between the two?
Oh, so what's the difference between the original smart scanner and the current one? Okay, so there's a few differences. The main difference is the Smart Scanner 2 has a much faster processor. So when we first released the Smart Scanner 1, it worked well. It still works well. But the inFlow app has now gotten a lot more features. There's a lot more things it can do. So basically, it's a lot faster now working with inFlow. It also has a slightly bigger screen. It has a removable battery. The old one doesn't have the removable battery. And also the battery capacity actually is a little bit higher on the new one as well too. And it's running Android 9 on the new one versus Android 8.1 on the old one. So not a big difference on the Android versions, but you do get a little bit more. Android 9 does have a little bit more modernizations that they do that makes it a little nicer to work with. So those are the big ones. So bigger screen, bigger capacity, bigger or better processor, CPU, and also the updated operating software as well. Good question.
Cool. So we also have one about adding product pictures. So if are you able to add multiple product photos or replace only one photo per item? And will it timestamp the photo?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the timestamp. I'm sure it does in the back end. I don't know if you'd be able to access that though. So I don't think you'd be able to tell from the timestamp. But yeah, in terms of taking pictures, you can replace existing pictures and you can take multiple ones. I think it allows you to store up to 3. And you can replace those. So you can remove them and then take a photo again to replace it.
That's cool. I didn't know we could do multiple photos. That's awesome. I always thought it was fun.
Oh, I hope so. Let me just make sure I've got that right. But I'm pretty sure it's up to 3.
No, you're probably right. I haven't. Yeah, you're probably right. We'll double check though, but I think you're right.
Yeah, let me double check just to be sure. But good question. We've got another question here. All right. So is the scanner inFlow proprietary? I can't say that word. Or can it be used for other inventory necessities?
Right on. Yeah. So the good news is, like, just like inFlow, like we let you, if you need to extract your data via CSV, Excel, whatever, we let you do that. So the same idea with the scanner, where it's not proprietary to inFlow. If you choose later on to go into like an ERP system where it's much more expensive, your needs change, that's cool. Your inFlow scanner will still work with whatever system that you need to work with later on. And like I mentioned, you can literally just use it as another unlocked cell phone. So you get the best of both worlds, where you use it for your inventory. It could be your phone for your employees if you need that. But yeah, nothing's locked down. It's fully open for you to use it as you choose. Great question.
Yeah, that one's really cool. And I have been testing it out, and you can add multiple photos. So
nice.
Yes, you can do that. All right, so we've got some more questions here. Okay, what about basic scanning for other software uses? Oh, so I guess, yes, you just went over that there. And will it scan either the UPC or the carton's SCC14 barcode and find the correct item either way?
So it'll definitely scan a UPC. Inside of inFlow, you can assign multiple barcodes to the same product. So as long as the format is pretty much like UPC is an international format, it pretty much scans all sorts of international formats, like even QR codes, whatever you throw at it. So as long as your product record has the actual kind of, text or string or whatever characters assigned to it, and you can do multiple, then yeah, it'll pick it up. No problem at all.
Cool. All right. And can a driver use it like a paperless packing slip on pick tickets and invoices? Is there a way you could sign on it? Did that make sense? So
interesting. So we don't, up front, we don't have a signature thing built in natively, but it can be used. It can be used to like do that. Yeah, if you need a sales order, that sort of thing. I'm wondering, that's something we can look into. There might be like another third-party app for you to capture signatures, or maybe it's a feature request we put in. If a lot of people are asking for that kind of functionality, we can put it in there. But yeah, it can be used as, I know there's a lot of people that have fleet vehicles and they use it to do orders day to day.
Yeah, great question. And yeah, I'll take down the feature request for a signature. That's definitely been requested before, so I'll upvote that on your behalf. Okay, we've got some more questions here. Do you need another user login? That's a great question, Sean. So no, each user login, you'll be able to log in onto the mobile app, the web app, or the Windows desktop app. So you don't need another login. Of course, it works in the same way where when you log in as a user, inFlow is going to be recording any transactions that were made for that user, so you can tell which user made what changes to the database. So you don't need another login. You can use the one that you have currently on any of our 3 apps. It's just a way for inFlow to know which user's making changes. So there's that there. And then we've got one from Michael here. Do you have an upgrade program for users who have the first version of the Smart Scanner? This is a good question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we don't have something formal, but get in touch with me, and yeah, I'll work out something for you. I'm happy to help help you out. Yeah, so I'd say just get in touch, and if you have the first Smart Scanner, yeah, we'll make a deal.
Awesome. And should they be reaching out to the support team, or I guess in general?
I'm fine. Like if it's something specific like that, I'm fine if you reach out to me directly. So my email is just Matt, M-A-T-T, that you see on the screen here at inflowinventory.com. I'm okay with that.
Okay, cool. And does the phone come with the cabling and the cables, I guess?
Yeah, so in the box, you do get the USB-C cable and you get the wall adapter as well. So it does come with the cable. Yeah, not like the new, is it the, was it Samsung or iPhone that don't, I guess both of them now don't include the adapter to the wall. It's an optional accessory.
Right.
We include that for you, don't worry.
Nice. And does it include regular updates for the phone itself? So with Android, we're running Android 9.
Yeah, so it does have updates. For the most part, they're over the air. But yeah, if there's anything like it can be updated just like any Android device can be.
Okay, awesome. And we have a question here from Dylan. So we are currently set up with barcodes in our inventory system. Can I print barcode labels from the scanner to a Datamax printer?
So that's a great question. So, I mean, yeah, I would totally get set up with barcodes. In general, with barcodes, I would do something like use a Dymo 450 label rater. We recommend those. They work directly with inFlow too. They print out stickers that you can stick on your pieces. Something interesting that I'm looking at to bring in for you guys is a mobile printer too, where you can do just that. So the mobile printer is also run by a battery. It connects to the phone, and you can print out labels and stickers, even receipts actually that way. Keep in mind, this is just an idea. There's no guarantees that we'll even bring it in, but I am looking at that because I think a lot of people, like in your case, and I've heard it from others, that they want something like that.
Yeah, and currently, yeah, I don't think it's possible to directly print from the scanner, not yet.
That's correct. Yeah, not yet.
Okay, and what's the return policy?
Yeah, so the return policy is 30 days. So yeah, order the scanner. If you don't love it, we're happy to take it back because yeah, we like, you guys know us. We're a pretty easygoing company. We want to make sure that you're happy with whatever it is that we offer. So yeah, there's no risk. Try it out, and we're happy to refund you if any reason should come up that we need to.
Cool. And a question from Brody here. Will it work if you add multiple barcodes for a part number?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, basically you can separate them, I think, with a space or even a comma in the barcode field. So as long as those are assigned to the product record, anytime you scan a barcode that relates to that, whether it's a UPC, QR code, any kind of format, doesn't really matter. inFlow will bring up that product record. That also goes beyond just the smart scanner. That's also true if you're using like a basic USB scanner as well. So yeah, inFlow does support multiple product records. That also comes in handy because I know sometimes the manufacturer, they have their own kind of like UPC or even just identifier, and then you might want to have your own identifier. So in that case, both identifiers can work the way you want them to.
Nice. Cool. And then, yeah, so we've got another question from Eric, or rather, can we print on Dymo with the phone? Right now, no. Maybe in the future we'll have our own.
I think that's actually I think it's in the works actually too, where we can print. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
So no quoting on me on that, but I think
Nice.
because I brought it up actually not too long ago, and I think it was like a project kind of on the docket. So that's coming. I think it's coming to the mobile app.
Yeah, and I'll be sure to just take that down as well, so that I can upvote that feature request. Maybe give it some traction. And then we've got one more question here from Jay. So will it keep the user logged in perpetually? It's a good question.
That's a good question. So, I mean, I think it does have a timeout, but I'm not sure like when that specific timeout is, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't remember what the timeout is either, but if you do log or close the app and open it up, I think maybe even 10 minutes later, you're still going to be logged in, if I'm not mistaken. But there is a timeout for security purposes.
Yeah, we can double check into that and see. But Yeah, and thanks, Eric, for confirming. You can have
Yep.
3 pictures with the version of inFlow right on.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I think that's all the questions we have so far. So I think we can do the draw now.
Yeah, let's do it. So Daniela,
cool.
you okay to do it on your? Okay.
Yeah. So I've got it here. We're going to use a cool wheel picker, and see here that I have it right. Bear with me. And I have so many tabs open, of course.
No problem. I may or may not have put my name on the wheel picker as well when you weren't looking.
Oh no. I hope I didn't miss anyone, of course, but I've been keeping track. So here we go for the draw.
Okay,
this
ready?
This is for a smart scanner. This is exciting. Oh, that's loud. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, it usually plays the music. Dylan!
All right, Dylan, well done. That was very close. Look right in the middle. But yeah, Dylan, congratulations. We'll reach out to you just to get your contact info so we can send you your smart scanner. Congrats.
Or actually, Dylan, if you can shoot me an email, just in case we don't have your Facebook contact details, just shoot me an email, matt@inflowinventory.com, and yeah, we'll take care of it that way too.
Yeah, awesome. And we do have a couple more questions actually that just came in from Jay. What's the cost, and does it work out of the box?
Yeah, it's a good question, Jay. So usually it's $799. Other comparable scanners are like over $1,000, and yeah, it works right out of the box. You don't have to do anything besides load the inFlow app onto it, and then you're good to go. And thank you for that question, because I can remind everyone too, if you're not lucky like Dylan today at least, you can actually still be lucky and get $100 off. So usually we sell them for $799. But if you put in the promo code webinar at inflowshop.com, you actually get $100 off, and that's only on for a limited time. So if you did want to try one out, same 30-day return policy, just head on over to inFlow Shop, put in webinar, and you get that extra $100 off. And I think Dylan was the one that asked about like not having barcoding just yet, right?
Oh, we aren't currently using. Yes, that's correct. That's Dylan.
Good, perfect. That's great.
Awesome.
So you know what? This will give you that. This will give you that kind of kickstart to get everything all barcoded, and yeah, hopefully it really helps for your operations. Jay's asking, yeah, any reduced price for multiple units? Great question. We've had some customers order like 9 units at a time, 10 units at a time. Absolutely. Get in touch with me directly. And I can, with the $100 off, there isn't much wiggle room really, because we're not selling these. Another thing to note is that we're not selling these to make, tons of profit off of them. We were selling them to make it easier to use inFlow, right? So you can see just like the MSRPs on other scanners that are, with the Zebra, it's almost $2,000, right? So we could probably sell them for a heck of a lot more, but instead we would just want them to be in the hands of as many people as possible, just because they're that much useful. Yeah, if you wanted to buy multiple units, get in touch. I do have something I can do for you, but it probably be still very close to the $699. I just have to double check on that. But yeah, Jay, just email me, matt@inflowinventory.com, and I'll take care of you.
And I think that's just one of our support team members letting us know that if you reach out to us, we can also help you get started with the barcodes. And if you have any questions, of course, about inFlow, you can always email us, support@inflowinventory.com. You can always find our support page on our website as well. If you have any further questions, or if something pops up after we're gone, feel free to email us your questions.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much for attending. Really appreciate your time. Hope you learned something. And yeah, I'd love to know if you do pick up a scanner, let me know if it's helped and that sort of thing. And yeah, I'd love to hear about it. So again, thank you so much. Really appreciate everyone participating today.
Awesome. Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. Take care. Bye for now.
Take care. Bye.